Oh, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. This is your Wednesday live chat for this week's Wells Fargo Championship. Question, answer, comment, concern, ownership, pivots, deep dive, whatever you want. Just throw it in the chat right now. I'll get to as many as possible over the course of the next hour or so. We are indeed presented by the boys over at Jock Market. There's a power hour tonight, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. Walk you through stock market DFS. I'll talk about them in a second. It'll be an absolute blast. But why waste time when we can be answering questions like this one from a game theory perspective at $11,500? What position does Rory have to finish to justify the price? T5, T10. So I've tried to figure this out over the years, and there are a lot of different ways that you could say, oh, that was valuable or not. I actually think it depends a lot on what the other 10K guys do, right? You know, if Rory finishes runner-up, but Tony Finau wins, are you happy with that result? I would argue that he probably needs to finish like 8th or better, probably. That would probably be where I would land if you asked me to assign a finishing position to it. But I think there are a lot of flaws and there's a lot of different ways to get there, unfortunately. So I don't have a good answer for you. Do we know what distance Congressional played at? That Congressional played at both the Quicken and the U.S. Open. I don't think they're really too similar as far as comp courses go. If you tweet me, I can look this up for you. I'm not going to waste everybody's time and look this up right now. But if you tweet at me, I'll go into the course database and check it out. Good day, Rick, says Denver Timmy. Can you dive into Sergio Garcia? Back-to-back Spaniard wins. All right, Timmy, let's do a deep dive on Sergio Garcia. This is my website, RickRunGood.com. Very large golf database that I think you will like and you should probably subscribe to. Here's what I see from Sergio Garcia. Maybe he broke out of a little bit of a slump at the Masters, right? This would be massively concerning for me. Losing 2 strokes on approach at the Genesis, losing 5, losing 1, losing 2.5, losing 4 straight weeks on approach is something that Sergio Garcia has basically never done. I'm scrolling through his history, 4 in a row in which like 4 straight starts that were all measured. It's basically never happened before, which is a little bit concerned. Yeah, I don't have it, which goes back to at least 2008. So that would be a pretty big red flag for me. Nice to see that he broke out of it at the Masters, but we don't know what happened at the Zurich. He missed the cut with Tommy Fleetwood, and we don't know how he played with the strokes gained breakdown. So like, I'm still thinking, okay, a little bit of a concern over Sergio Garcia. The putter has been better, right? The short game's always the same. The driver, this is kind of also what I worry about, right? If he doesn't drive it well and he doesn't hit his approach as well, what is he? He's nothing. So I think you have to take a little bit of a flyer. On paper, without looking at the metrics, this would probably be a pretty good spot for him. Diving into the metrics a little bit more, I get less optimistic. So call me a 4 out of 10 in terms of excitement on Sergio Garcia. Good afternoon, Rick. Good afternoon, Scott. Webb outright at 50-1. Assuming he can get back to his good form, would this be a course fit? Love the content as always. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so yes, the answer is yes. If Webb Simpson was playing to his 2020 version, he would be awesome around here. But he's not, right? He's worse off the tee than he's been since 2018. He is average on approach, something he's never been in his entire career. The around the green play is exactly the same, and he's having the worst putting year since basically he made the switch from the anchored putter, right? So remember, he went through the troubles. He was anchoring here until 2015, and then he went to the regular putter and he struggled for 2 years. He's that bad. Now, you could argue it's injury. You could argue just not time to practice. He's ready to break out. I hope that's true. I like Webb a lot, but there is not a lot of really tangible data to show me that. So you'd be saying, this is a little bit of a flyer on Webb. And I'm hoping that Webb this week, even though we've seen him play, we've seen him play 5 times since coming back at the Players. We haven't seen good stuff from Webb. We haven't seen good stuff. So yes, if he was healthy, if he was playing well, this would be a good spot for him. DFS wise, would you play Cam Davis or Lahiri? I like both of them quite a bit. I think that Cam Davis, who also had a good finish at Harbour Town, which is a really good sign considering that's kind of a less than driver, be more precise off the tee. Like, that's very exciting. And Lahiri as well, if you look at his metrics here, which are pretty darn good, hitting it better off the tee, generally hitting it better on approach, continues to putt well, 3 top 15s in his last 4 starts ever since he kind of found that thing at the Players Championship. Maybe I would say Cam Davis is maybe more likely because we've seen like a larger sample size of Cam Davis. I've got like 4 good starts from Honorbon. So I'd probably lean Davis, but I think both of them are certainly viable. Which tower do you look at for win projections? Well, if you go to Win Finder, you don't have to pick a tower, although I think there is one in College Station. The Weather Underground tower that I'm using the station that I'm using is Potomac Woods. That's the station I'm looking at. Which, by the way, I can just cover. There's a question here from Blues Guys about, would you let weather concerns cause you to pivot off of Fitzpatrick to Gary Woodland with a PM AM looking like the better side of it? I don't know if I necessarily agree that might be the better side of it. So here's the 10-day from Weather Underground. And the things that I'm looking at are, let me zoom out like a hair. So I'm looking at Thursday. Okay, so here's Thursday morning. We've got small percent chance of rain, 6-7 mile an hour winds. All of Thursday is basically the same. So let's look at Friday. Okay, Friday, we've got rain in the forecast. Well, it looks like there's going to be rain basically all morning. From 5 a.m., there's a 50% chance. All morning, basically all day. The wind kicks up in a little bit of the afternoon. So maybe the argument is if Friday gets washed, the guys go out on Saturday. I mean, Saturday doesn't look great either. Saturday would be a bit windier if they can get it in. So I guess the argument would be the most likely guys to get pushed to Saturday are the Friday PM guys. So I don't know why there's an assumption that PM AM is the better looking side of the draw. Listen, I'm not a meteorologist, obviously. What I'm looking at right now, I don't think I would make any changes. And I don't think I would certainly say that one side is better than another, because we might just get a delay, and a delay screws the whole thing up. And if you're trying to guess a delay, I think you're in for a lot of trouble. There will probably be a wave that's better than the other, but I what we're seeing right now, I don't think it's possible to tell right now. So I would not be making any changes. Matthias Schwab, deep dive and ownership ? Okay, so here's the cheat sheet. Projected ownership. It didn't change much this morning, but I gave it a little bit of a run this morning. So Matthias Schwab, I have him at 3.3% owned. So pretty low owned. If we look at the data that I have on him, see what we've got. Share my screen with you here. Let's see what we've got here. So played the Zurich, made the cut. Made the cut at the Heritage. Good sign. Made the cut at the Valero Texas Open. Made the cut at Valero. Okay. So 4 straight. He's played a lot more on the PGA Tour than I would have guessed. Couple of 7th place finishes earlier. Doesn't drive it well. Now, does he not drive it well because he's inaccurate or because he's short? He's more accurate than he is long, which I guess is better here. Okay. It's not the worst thing I've seen. That's not bad. Cole, this is a pretty good call because he does lose strokes off the tee, but he loses them a lot more because of distance than he does because of accuracy. And then the rest of his game is pretty strong. So I do not mind that. That's not bad. Good job. On the cheat sheet, Rick, would accuracy fall under strokes gained approach or off the tee? Can you take a dive into Luke List for this course? Thanks. So driving accuracy would fall into off the tee. Luke List, if you think about places that he's had success, maybe more difficult like Honda, Farmers. I don't think this is going to play super hard, especially because of the weather. But I think there are going to be guys who shoot like pretty big, a little bit concerning. And I'm not even worried about the strokes gained putting. Like that's horrendous, but that's kind of always been the deal, right? Like that should not be surprising anybody. The little bit of a surprise would be that he lost on approach 4 out of his last 5, but he was better at Harbortown. I think it's a decent buy low, beat early spot. I'm not super stoked about it, but I would say I'm like a 6 out of 10. Hey, Rick, I should know my own name. Seems Streelman and Harman would fit well on this course. Thoughts? ? Well, let's do this. We can look. So Streelman is someone that I encountered earlier, and I thought, okay, that makes a lot of sense. He's like 7th in driving accuracy. He's much worse than that in distance. The approach play's been fine. The short game is a little bit worrisome, but if I'm gonna I'm not super worried about that. Let's look at Harman together, because that's not someone that I've probably spent a lot of energy on this week. We know he's accurate. We know he's short, which is better than being, well, mostly better than being long and inaccurate. He's actually getting a lot of strokes off the tee. And look where he did, like 4.4 at Harbour Town. That's because it requires accuracy. Did not hit it well after that. Putting, okay. I probably prefer Streelman. Again, not super thrilled about either. Wow, look at this. This is going to be Brian Harman's 1,000th round on Thursday in my database. I have 999 rounds on him, which is every round he's played on the PGA. It's probably all PGA. A little bit of Corn Ferry stuff. No Euro Tour stuff. Thursday is going to be Brian Harman's 1,000th round in my database. Good on you, Bri. Good luck, buddy. Is the safest one and done option to play Corey Connors? Yeah, that sounds about right. I think Corey Connors is like the de facto obvious one and done choice. If you're front running, it's Corey Connors. If you don't know who to pick, it's probably just Corey Connors. You're not saving him for later. The sneakier ones, I mean, Rory's not going to be that sneaky. He'll be pretty popular. But like, if you're willing to burn Rory, it's kind of interesting. Are you willing to burn him? Maybe you should be. It's $1.6 million up top. It's kind of the heavy favorite. I don't mind that at all. Outside of those guys, let me see. Ownership. I had ownership here. The 5 most popular one and done options are going to be Rory, Connors, probably then Finau, Fitzpatrick, and Cam Young. I like Fitzpatrick a lot. I don't think Finau, there is a lot more excitement from everybody else on Tony Finau than I think I have on Tony Finau. Last week was great for him, and we knew that, right? It was drive it anywhere and then let the rest of your game do its thing. And that's exactly what he did. You're not going to be able to drive it anywhere you want this week. There could not be probably more different golf courses from one week to another. I'm not as excited about Tony Finau. I wouldn't mind Cam Young. I wouldn't mind Matt Fitzpatrick. Speaking of Cam Young, Biggie Ball says, how do you like Cam Young this week? I know accuracy might be more important than distance this week, but the form is just so good and he's going to win eventually, for sure. I actually think Cam Young is kind of outside some of like the specialist stuff. You know, you could argue that when you are 4th in club head speed, 4th in driving distance, like you are a specialist. I'm not sure that's the case with Cam Young, because look at his results here. And I've mentioned this throughout the week already, so I'll try to be quick here. Harbour Town, he's got a T3. Riviera, T3. Sanderson Farms in Jackson, T3 or T2. 3 very different golf courses. When you are starting to put it together at all these different types of golf courses, par 70s, par 72s, whatever, like that's impressive. So I would have thought Harbour Town would have been a bad spot for him. It was not. So I'm quite confident that there are just about 1 billion golf courses on this planet that he is going to play well at. $7,200 left on the table. Glover or Cam Davis? Probably Davis. Thoughts on Doc? Ooh, let's talk about the old Redman. Played well with Sam over at the Zurich Classic. He's outside the top 130 in both accuracy and distance. That's a hair concerning. His best bucket, which I don't love, but look like it's an outlier here, is 125 to 150. He is actually better. Look at this. This is why the buckets are stupid. But he's actually better by 3 inches from 125 to 150 than he is from 100 to 125. Isn't that weird? Which would be, but that's not really a great bucket for this week. So I would probably not be that thrilled about Doc this week. I hate to say it because I love Doc and he's awesome, but like, let's be real. Let's be real with each other. Let's look at the metrics. The metrics aren't there. The best finish was with team event. I don't think this course particularly sets up well for him. I'm sorry, Doc. I'm sorry. Deep dive on Gary Woodland. I don't think we need to do a deep dive on Gary Woodland. Gary Woodland was popular last week for very good reason. I think he's in a better spot this week, right? He is back to being a great ball striker. I think people are just, what is his ownership? Here, this is the one thing that we haven't talked about this week, so I'll do that. I have his ownership checking in at 14%, which is less than Russell Henley, less than Keegan Bradley, less than Max Homa, less than Seamus Power. I think Gary Woodland's a great option. I really, really do. I think this is a better spot for him this week than it was last week. Can you break down Henley versus Woodland for GPP purposes? Yeah, I don't know what the best way to probably do that is, Hank Hill. We can just look at Russell Henley real quick. Henley has been generally unable to put 4 rounds together, right? He has usually gotten off to a hot start and he has struggled after that. There's a lot of good places for him because he is one of literally the best ball strikers, one of the best approach players on the PGA Tour. This is a really good stat profile. It's a really, really good stat profile with questionable upside. I think that Gary Woodland has more frequent top 10 finishes in him. And I think Russell Henley probably has more T33s in him, right? Just like higher floor, higher ceiling. If you want to compare the ownership, Henley's at about 20 and Woodland at about 14. So I think when you put it all together, you save the $200 to Woodland. I think his upside is higher. I think his ownership is going to be lower. I think the answer is Gary Woodland. Tell me why I shouldn't play Keegan for one and done over Corey Connors. Can do anything you'd like. I'm not going to tell you who to play. Keegan's a great option for this week. He's a great total driver of the ball. He's horrible when he gets to the green. He's been better. Corey Connors is very similar, right? Great ball striker. Corey Connors is a little bit better off the tee, a little bit better on approach, I believe. But no, they're very similar. Both are fine. You're not saving Keegan for anything else. So use him. I think they're both very similar. No question from this guy. Just super impressed by the content you've put out there, Rick. Watch every day from work, and there's none better than you. Cheers. Wow. Thank you, Garrett. Much appreciated. Thoughts on Matt Jones and Lonto in a single entry this week? Boy. Okay. Let's take these one by one here. So we'll do Matt Jones first. And Matt Jones is someone that I stared at long and hard last week, because he was coming off the runner-up finish, and I was like, okay, he drove it well. He gained strokes across the board. That's usually very encouraging. He's in this pattern of like one good approach week, one bad approach week, one good, one bad. I don't think that's going to happen, but like I don't think the actual trend matters, obviously, the every other thing, but I do like that he is often capable of popping on approach. It's the worst one to be all over the place at, but at least when you have a good approach week, you can finish T15 at Riviera. You can finish T2 at the Valero Texas Open, and you don't wait 6, 7, 8 weeks in between pops. It's more frequent. So it's your guess as good as mine of whether this is going to be a pop week, but that profile, always good off the tee, always good around the green, some very quick pop weeks on approach, and like generally a bad putter, but he does putt well sometimes. Like that's a pretty good profile for a high upside golfer. Lonto's probably safer. Before I pull up Lonto's stat profile, I imagine he's actually going to be a little bit safer here. Maybe. I mean, as long as he doesn't play himself out of it around the greens, right? I mean, he's generally more consistent off the tee, generally more consistent on approach. The short game's been horrid. That's quite surprising. So I think I'd prefer Matt Jones just for the upside there. Let me quick remind you that this is brought to you by Jock Market. So if you haven't played Jock Market yet, it's Stock Market DFS. They've got contests for NASCAR now, and obviously for golf and for NBA and NHL and MLB. And you can buy shares of athletes, and then depending on what they do, there's like a guaranteed payout for their stock price. It's very, very exciting stuff. They're constantly improving the product. I've added more data to my website, RickRunGood.com, for free. So you can actually go and look and say, okay, the Wells Fargo Championship. Let's look at everybody in the field over their last 10 cash markets. Sepp Straka, believe it or not, highest average ROI. You could buy shares of Sepp Straka on average for less than $3 a share, and he's paying out over $7.50 a share. Now, that includes a big win. Anirban Lahiri's includes a runner-up finish of the Players. Kurt Kitayama's has like 2 pop weeks. So like you kind of look like Hostler's been consistently outperforming his expectation. Cam Young has been consistently outperforming his expectation. Matt Kuchar, these are guys that I would target tonight because they're probably not going to be all that expensive. They don't have to win to return you money, and you can get a nice little return from them. So if you use the code Rick, you get a deposit match up to $50. Joe Idoni and myself are going to do a power hour tonight at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll give away a little cash, and it'll be a fun time. We'll talk you through the whole strategy of it, and it's been a really fun format. Let me find my spot again. Love that hat. Where is that from? D Hudson. It's like one of those Instagram brands, right? And it like catches my attention. I'm like, crap. I got to buy that now. Your prop tool is awesome. I already made enough to pay for the rest of the year. All right, Jim. Well, thanks. That's the perfect segue into reminding people that earlier this week I launched RunGoodProps.com, which is my ongoing attempt to bankrupt PrizePicks, because what it does is it goes out and it looks at the odds for the props at DK Sportsbook, and then it gives you all the favorites. So because PrizePicks treats every prop like it's even money, you build these different I'll just put one in right now. So like the top 5 props right now, if you go put the top 5 props in on PrizePicks right now, as a 5-pick flex play, your expected value is 22.9%. There are probably no bets in sports betting that you are that big of a favorite, that you have a positive expected value of 23%. It's insane. And it's just taking advantage of the huge payouts at PrizePicks and the way that they treat their odds. So you can sign up for RunGoodProps.com. You can make as much money as Jim is telling you. And I'll tell you what, it's been phenomenal. So check that out. It's absolutely bonkers. We had lots of rain here in the last few days, and rain in the forecast for Friday and Saturday. I'm 45 minutes from the course. Does this change your view on accuracy with less roll, or will it be less penal off the tee? So there's a couple of factors here, and you can weigh these in any way that you want. So I think scoring will be better. I think there is a much higher chance that now the PGA Tour plays preferred lies, and when they do play preferred lies, you are at a way bigger advantage if you're playing out of the fairway, because you can pick up your ball, you can clean it, you can put it down, and that's when these guys go super, super low. So I believe accuracy will actually be more important. Now, the caveat to that is it's easier to hit fairways when it's soft, because if you land it in the fairway on a firm, fast day and it rolls into the rough, well, that kind of stinks. If you do it here, it lands, it stops, it plugs, you pick it up, you put it down. So, it'll be easier to hit fairways, but I actually believe that it will be a bigger edge to be in the fairway. That's my thoughts. Are you partial to choosing guys with late tee times on Thursday? No. What up, Rick? On the cheat sheet, are you looking at course history or tournament history? Okay, the cheat sheet is always tournament history. If you want to look at course history, you can go to the Holy Grail. You can go to the course and you can type in TPC Potomac, and then you can sort by strokes gained total, and you can say, wow, Francesco Molinari, the best player. Ryan Armour is next. Abe Answer is next. Sung Kang, the best of anybody who's played it in both years. Bo Hostler, Ben Martin, Keegan Bradley, Ricky Fowler, Chesson Hadley, Mark Leishman. That's the list. So the cheat sheet is always tournament history. If you want to dive into course, do it through the Holy Grail. Hey, Rick, I'm 20 maxing. How many golfers should I have in my pool, and would you keep it tighter at the top end or with cheap guys? So I can't tell you how many guys are in your pool, because it's a lot of personal preference. It's a lot about how risk adverse you are. Obviously, the smaller number of golfers, the more risky it will be. That's what I like to do. The follow-up question is kind of more interesting to me. Would you keep it tighter at the top or with the cheap guys? I generally keep it tighter at the top, and then like swap out the guys in the 7K range that I think are, much more likely to miss the cut or much more likely to finish like T8. Like, they're more volatile golfers. I would rather swap them out and try to find the right combination. So that's what I would do. Rick, who is the one and done pick if I've got a lot of ground to make up? I don't think you need to go that far. I think the answer could be like Russell Henley. I think it could be Terrell Hatton. I think it could be, if you're really far behind, like Patrick Reed or Paul Casey, right? I don't think you have to go too far. I think there's going to be a really tight group of people at the top. Connors, McIlroy, I think you're going to get a lot of it. I think you're going to get some Finau stuff after what he did last week. And then I think you're going to get maybe a little bit of Matt Fitzpatrick. And if you don't have one of those guys, I think you're in a position to make up ground. Hey, Rick, any love for last year's 54-hole leader, albeit at a different course, Keith Mitchell? Could you deep dive him and look up his putting on bentgrass? Sure. So, yeah, I don't care about what he did last year because the exact reason that you brought up, which is it was a different golf course. But what we know about Keith Mitchell is that he's a very good driver of the golf ball. He's unfortunately longer than he is straight, though. He doesn't hit a lot of fairways, which is a little bit concerning. If we go and we look at his metrics, yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect. Off the tee is great. Approach is kind of iffy. The rest of his game, some good weeks, some bad. I worry that he's a little bit inaccurate, but I don't mind. I do not mind playing him because he does gain strokes off the tee. If you want to look at his bentgrass stuff, he loses a third of a stroke per round. It's his second worst surface. Okay, this is a PrizePicks question. Using your ABCD strategy for top 20s with these two lineups, Connors, Fitz, Homa, and Woodland. Oh, there's not a question. That's just a comment from Mark. Mark, good luck. Hey, Rick, can you please... I think that's supposed to be rank these for cash games. It says thank these for cash games. Maybe rank these for cash games. Joe, you don't want my opinion for cash games, but I imagine the answer is Damon, Neesmith, Harman, Merritt. But I'm not sure you want that opinion. Hey, Rick, hope all is well. Who in the field are known for birdie streaks? Thanks for everything. Have a great weekend. Okay, so if you go to the Holy Grail Badger, if you go to the Holy Grail and you go to the fantasy tab, there is actually a birdie streak column. How good am I? How good am I? This year in 8 tournaments, Keegan Bradley, pretty significantly the best birdie streak guy. He's the only one averaging at least 1 birdie streak per tournament, 1.13. That's a lot. That's pretty darn good. Let's see. He had 2 at the Valero Texas Open, 2 at the Players, 2 in Phoenix, 2 at the Farmers, 1 at the Sony. So he's only had 3 starts this year in which he hasn't had a birdie streak. He missed the cut in 1. That makes sense. Wow, he didn't have API's hard. He didn't have a birdie streak at API, but he finished 11th. And then Riviera, hard to get a birdie streak there as well. So Keegan far and away this year. Kuchar as well. That's a little bit surprising, isn't it? I don't think Kuchar as a birdie streak guy, although he piled them up. He had 3 in Sony, 3 at Sony, 3 at the Valero, and 1 at the Heritage. That's it. He had 5 other starts in which he didn't have any. Gary Woodland's up here. Sepp Straka, Brian Harman. Interesting. I love the old birdie streak thing. Where are you on a scale from 1 to 10 on David Lipsky and Rory Merritt this week? Also, thoughts on Fitz at $10,000 for a guy who's not won on U.S. soil. Connors and Hatton just have more win equity. The second part of that's pretty debatable. I think Hatton certainly has more win equity. Connors has only won once. I mean, Fitz has won, 6 or 7 times on the European Tour. I think we could say that those wins are probably better than the one that Connors has. I agree that Hatton has more win equity. We can put Merritt's so funny because his number opened at 35-1. And now he's been a topic of conversation. I'm not sure I'm particularly excited about it. This is what I would describe as whack-a-mole. He's never really a good driver. Doesn't always have good weeks anywhere. Has been pretty reliant on a putter, gaining 9.8 at the Valero and 5 at the RBC Heritage. That's his second best putting week ever. And his 18th best putting week ever. So that's a little bit concerning to me. Lipsky, I think I'm a bit more bullish on. I think he's got 3 top 10s in his last, or might be 3 top 7s in his last 4 starts. Lipsky is a guy I've talked about a lot. He's a Vegas guy. He has a lot more experience than a lot of the younger guys do. He's a very good player. I mean, I know all these guys are very good players, but he's a very, very good player, and he's showing it right now. Do you have a cool sunglasses metric for Sergio on your tool? No, but funny story, Garrett. That company that he wears, I'll give him a free plug. It's called Gooder, G-O-O-D. They're cheap sunglasses. They're actually not bad. They're $25 or $30, which I like for sunglasses because I lose them so often and I like to have them all over the place. They reached out to do a promotion. And there was this oh, Rick Run Gooder. It was it was going to be a perfect collab. And I don't think they liked the price that I asked for. So we haven't heard back, but they sent some samples for Armina and I. They're not bad. They're pretty good. I actually like the product. It would have been a really good fit. I never heard back. So if you're out there, Gooder peeps, we could do Rick Run Gooder. We could do listen, we'll figure it out. But sorry. Ryan Armour, value play. Yes. Rick, good day to you. Good day to you, Joe. Is Kadira, Stewart, and Blom worth playing in a 20 lineup? Probably not, but of all weeks, yes. I'd probably like Kadira, then Stewart, then Blom, but I'm not rushing to get anyone in there. Eli's on my side. Would have to disagree that Connors has more win equity. He's won once. I agree. Just subscribe to your channel, Rick. Matt, what in the world were you waiting for? Thanks for the content. I'm all in on Cam Young to win it all. Do you think that's a stupid bet? No. I love Cam Young. It's 40-1. You're probably going to lose it. Anything you bet that is 40-1, you are likely to lose. So we'd have to argue, is it a good bet because he's more likely to win than 1 out of every 2.5 times? No, 2.5% of the time. Hard to say. He's never won. We don't have enough information. So I don't know if this is a good bet, but I really like Cam Young and I hope you win it. If you win that one, I will also be winning a lot of money. Rick, just a quick comment to say thanks for the work and ask about the payout structure for the run and done. This is a question I get a lot, which I was trying to avoid because I thought I had done a pretty good job of communicating this. So here's the deal. You go here. I'm going to solve this for everybody right now. You go to the Run Good Rundown, which is a weekly newsletter that I put out. There's an email out about the Wells Fargo Championship right now. The original post about the one and done, it came in December. And ever since then, I've been updating all the information in this one post. So this is the championship belt that the winner is going to get. These are the final payouts right here. It's pretty good. It's pretty good based on 679 paid entries because I had to go through, you got to make sure all the payments come through. So this is it. This is the payout structure right here. Enjoy. I only get those questions from people who are near the top. They want to see how much money they're winning. I'm on to you guys. All right. Good afternoon, Rick. I want to play more Showdown entries this week. What would be the best tool to use? There's probably a bunch of different ways to do this. I like to look at the Holy Grail. I like to look at strokes gained by round, and I like to start now. I would have already narrowed down my player pool a little bit, but I like to start clicking into some of these guys. So, for example, let's just take a couple of guys in here. Finau. I want to look at his round by round, and I want guys that can gain 4, 5, 6 strokes per round. That's kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for ceiling. So Finau did that twice last week. He did it once the match play. I'm talking about 4 or more strokes gained. And then he didn't do it. And that's the only time he's done it this season. So he's done it 3 times this season. That's not particularly great. Let me see if I can find somebody who might be more volatile. What about Keegan Bradley, a notorious first round leader? How often does he gain 4 strokes? Okay. Well, he's got a lot of 3.5s. Gained 4 at the Zurich, which you could argue, 5 at Valero, 3.5, 3 different times at the Players, 3.5 and 4 at the API, 4 at Phoenix. That's why he is the first round leader so often, because he has these pop weeks. Let's try one more. Let me see if I can find somebody really, really volatile. Aaron Rye might be that guy. Yeah, here you go. 5, 4, 4, 4.75, 4.29. That's all in his last 20 rounds. 3.7. He's going to lose a lot. But anyway, the long story short, I like the round by round stuff, looking for poppy people. Pop it up. Pop it up. Is Brandon Wu a trap? Maybe. But it also might just be that he found something, right? Because this 5-week stretch has been awesome. It's not just last week. If you threw out last week, I think you'd still be pretty excited about his results. So I don't think he's a trap, but because now everybody's talking about him, he's a little bit more trappy than normal. But I'm actually quite bullish on him. A good week to exploit the recency bias and stack Answer Woodland lineups. Yes. Hey, Rick, thanks for the content. You're welcome. Who are some lower owned golfers in the 8K range and above? Okay. So 8K and above. Jason Day, Paul Casey, Mark Leishman are the three that I have under 10%. I have Patrick Reed at exactly 10%. Hope that answers your question. Webb's kind of there. Siwoo's kind of there. But those are the ones that I would point out. I think AM PM splits is based on wind Thursday per Wind Finder and Andy's write-up. Well, I trust Andy. I will have to go reread his article. I did not necessarily see that. I could be missing something. Rick, how do you feel about Ricky Fowler this week? I think this is one of the worst spots for him. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's just, he just sprays it. He should have played last week. He sprays it all over the yard. He should have played last week. I don't know why he didn't. What needs to happen to get a Millie Maker on a weekly basis on DraftKings? Seems like every big dollar tournament fills no problem. I would say everyone who watches these videos emails them every single week asking for it and tweets at DK assist and all that stuff. I don't think Millie Makers are good for the ecosystem. I'll be honest with you. You basically remove it's a horrible payout structure in which you remove a ton of money from the ecosystem every single week. But if you want the answer to the question, it's that every single person emails them all the time and keeps pestering them. I think that Matt Kuchar is making a great final run. I tend to agree. The last couple weeks have been good. He's been a bit reliant on the putter, right? He's gained like 7 strokes putting in each of the last 2. I think this is a better setup for him than basically 85% of all the places on tour. Hey, Rick, any way to see a combined score for driving distance and accuracy? Sure. So you could call it strokes gained off the tee, but what you're probably referring to is total driving. Total driving is an old stat that basically looks at, let me see if I have it. I do. Oh, I love it when that happens. I freaking love it when that happens. Holy Grail, click stats on the right-hand side. So total driving looks at your rank your rank in accuracy, driving accuracy, how many fairways you hit, and your rank in driving distance. So for example, Martin Laird is a 98 value. So he might be 48th in distance and 50th in accuracy. So that would be 50 plus 48, 98. So of golfers in this field, Martin Laird is number 1. Hayden Buckley 2, Cam Young, Corey Connors, Siwoo Kim, Kevin Streelman, Alex Smalley, Johnny Vegas, Keith Mitchell. I could go on and on, but I'm not going to read you 154 golfers' names. It's on the Holy Grail. It is called total driving. That is what you're looking for. Oh, and a perfect segue to Michael's question about Martin Laird. Can you please do a deep dive on Martin Laird? Please, I'm begging you. I'm begging you. That's his words, not mine. That's his words. Here's Martin Laird. We know about the total driving. Okay, so we know that. He's a horrible putter. Although when he does putt to a 0 or better, he finds basically a good finish, which you can probably imagine. That's going to be that's the only question. Will he putt well? Because he hits it well off the tee. We know that. His approach play has been great. He's gained basically all but one event dating back to last year, WGC FedEx St. Jude. This is phenomenal stuff. As long as he putts to a 0, he can make noise. If you are willing to trust that, have fun. Do we think Casey plays 4 rounds? If so, are you playing him? If you guaranteed me Paul Casey was going to play 4 rounds, well, 1, I would know he would make the cut. And 2, he's basically the lowest owned golfer above 9K or 8K. I would 100% play him. I assume that if he's playing, he's healthy. And the same thing happened at the match play too, right? And he said it. I felt good before the week. Back spasms can pop up whenever, and you're at the mercy of them. I think he makes a pretty interesting pivot play. I'll tell you that. How would you rank these 3? Kuchar, Young, Webb, without knowing anything about the scoring system, what your goals are? I cannot answer this, but here we go. Young, Kuchar, Webb. Rick, love what you do. Thank you. Great to see your hard work paying off. Oh, cheers. Any chance we could get a player lock button in the lineup builder tool? Yes, certainly. Now, I will tell you, people have found a way to kind of trick the system here. So yes, I've got so many things coming to this. This is the most complex tool, so just bear with me. But what you could, in theory, do, because it simulates lineups off of this value column. So what you could, in theory, do is you could say, okay, Rory McIlroy, his value right now is 100. I'm going to change that to 999. And that is what users have found out is essentially a lock button, because now you're tricking the optimizer into saying, holy crap, he's such a good play, I'm going to put him in every single lineup. It's like you're just tricking it. So users have been very successful at using that as a little trick of the trade to lock somebody in. Could you rate these 7K golfers 1 through 5? Again, I don't know what you're looking for, but I would say in a vacuum, the answer is Straka, Rye, Gim, Glover, Lonto. I have not talked about Chesri. So question from Shane in regards to Chesri. And if I remember correctly, because I looked at him a couple weeks ago, it was not vintage Ches. Let me just see this. Let's just look. We'll look together. Yeah, this is not right. Oh, this is what I saw. I saw this massive streak of 7 straight events in which he lost strokes on approach. Good sign that this actually might be pretty good, because this stat profile from Mexico for Reeve is basically what you want to see from him, right? He lost strokes off the tee in Mexico, a place where distance matters, and he's very short. But he gained 4.7 on approach, 2.5 around the green, 3.8 putting. If he gains those numbers this week, there's no way he loses 3.3 off the tee, because there's nowhere to lose that for him this week. Everyone bombing it 50 yards past him crushes his off the tee number. If I could guarantee that same profile this week, it would be great. So it's not bad. It's a little bit of a flyer just because he was so horrid before that, but it's not a bad call, Shane. I don't mind it, buddy. Gregory says, how do you feel about Jason Day? Love you, bro. Hey, I love you too. Have a great day out there. Jason Day, I don't think I feel all that good about him. 3 cuts in a row. Finished 10th at Zurich. Who was his partner? Oh, he played with Scrivener. This is a little bit concerning, right? It's not only the fact that he's been losing strokes on approach, but he's been very consistent, which is unfortunate. He's lost basically between 1 and 2 strokes on approach in 8 of 10, 9 of 11. That level of that tells me he's consistent, which in this case is bad, because I would rather see him lose 3, gain 4, lose 4, gain 3, than see this. This to me tells me we are capped. We are really, really capped here. That is a very concerning stat profile to me. I love Jason Day, nicest guy in the world. Every time I've ever talked to him, he's been nothing but great. I hope he plays awesome. That is a concerning stat profile to me. How is golf from home going? Well, I've hit balls in the simulator every day, which is phenomenal. Just to be able to go over there 15, 20 minutes, bang out some balls, try some new things, not worrying about how many balls I have left in the bucket. It's been phenomenal. Any chance you could add a segment on the live chat videos where you run your next 2 or 3 favorite models from the initial you run in the preview? Maybe. Let me think about that. It's not a bad idea. 40 minutes from Potomac, and it's pouring here right now. Congrats on the new site, Rick. Wanting to look into strokes gained on hard courses that have only been played once. Oh, God. Oliver put me to the test here. That have only been played once on the PGA Tour the last few seasons. What comes to mind? I mean, immediately my mind goes to major championships, right? You have a course rotation. They're generally very hard. Maybe God, Oliver, you're such a good friend for doing this. Let's just do this. Let's get freaky. You want to get freaky? Let's get freaky. We'll say the last 5 years, everyone in this field at PGA championships, at US Opens, And at, do we want to do Open Championships? Do we want to do that? This would give us maybe difficult, likely difficult, only seen it once. Oh, Matthew Wolff is number one. Cool. Because he's got those U.S. Open finishes. Yeah. Harry Higgs only has one of those, which he played the PGA Championship, finished fourth. Tony Finau, 39 rounds in such situations. Frankie Molinari, Webb Simpson, Patrick Reed, Rory, Paul Casey, Russell Knox, kind of interesting. So that's the list. There might be a better way to do that, Oliver. You just kind of put me on the spot, so that's what I went with. In one and done chase pack, to be different, who has a higher upside? Siwoo, Leishman, Harman, or Young? I think it's got to be Siwoo or Cam Young, right? We have seen 3 top 2 finishes from Cam Young in like 12 starts. Siwoo is a freak of nature when it comes to volatility. Leishman hasn't won in 2.5 years by himself. And Harman, I can't even think of what Harman's winning record is. So I think it's got to be those two. Thanks for the NHL picks in the newsletter today, too. I don't like to give out picks, but the picks are math-based, and I'm trying to promote rungoodprops.com. It's unbelievable. There is no, I got to say it again. There is no bet out there in which you're getting like 25 to 40% expected value. Your expected value on almost every single bet is a negative. But because this weird world we're in, and they're probably going to change it at some point, when PrizePicks changes their payouts, we'll get screwed on this. But until then, we're going to crush them. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to crush them. So hopefully that's a year or 2 or whatever, but we're going to crush them for now. And you're going to lose a lot of days because you're doing, 5-leg entries. But like last night, I had a bunch of 3 or 5s and a couple 4 or 5s, and that was a winning night. Enough. But when we hit them, we're going to crush them. We're absolutely going to crush them. I feel the 8K range is kind of a dead range in my books. So I'm kind of drawn to Paul Casey thoughts. You're drawn to Paul Casey thoughts? Interesting. Looking for general weights to use for your model each week, if there is one. Every week is different. So what I would do, Joe, is I start on the course key stats. I look at what is important for this course in which we have just enough data to be dangerous. I see accuracy is important. I see approach is important. I see tee to green is important. I see around the green is not so important. I see that distance is medium. And I see that strokes gained putting is on the lower end. Take those and then put them in your weights in the custom model, because every week is going to change, right? Hey, Rick, Pennsylvania guy. Where at Topher? Thinking about having my bachelor party at next year's Waste Management. Good idea or bad idea? Boy. Depends on what kind of guy you are, Topher. It's going to be a madhouse. So if you like that, great idea. If you want something a little more relaxed, bad idea. But should be fun either way. On Andy's pod, Armina always says, I always say, okay, Andy. She makes fun of me all the time. On Andy's pod, the other day, his guest mentioned, if you go left off the tee here, you're screwed. Any way to see who has issues of going left? Oh, crap. I used to have this. Do I have this handy? If you give me 10 seconds, I can try to see if I have this. Oh, I love this. I've got it. Here we go. Razor Sharp. I've got it. If you are not subscribed to RickRunGood.com, what are you doing? Off the tee, left rough tendency. Is this a joke? And now remember, this is low numbers first. So this is good. Abe Answer. Oh God, Abe Answer is going to win this week. 7.6% of the time, he hits the left rough. Okay. So that's the best number. He's the best. Hayden Buckley, 8.2% of the time. Brian Stewart, 8.1. Why are those two out of order? 8.18, 8.4. That's bizarre. Is there maybe might have a rounding issue? No, the rest of them look good though. That's so weird. Streelman, Reevy, Laird, Putnam, McIlroy, Tyler Duncan week, everyone. How good is that to have that information, Razor? How good? Oh, we don't have to ask questions a second time. I'm going in order. So we don't have to do that. If you're looking at a cheap golfer, would you take someone consistent like Bill Haas or someone who pops every few weeks? I would take someone who pops every few weeks. Who hits harder, Dave Chappelle or Kevin Chappell? I'm not sure that's a great bump, Matt, because didn't someone hit Dave Chappelle? So it should be like, who hits harder? The guy who hit Dave. I don't know. I don't think we've workshopped that joke all the way yet. Is there anyone picking up steam from an ownership, picking up steam on ownership from the lower tiers on who we should avoid? I would say, if you want to play the ownership game, Sepp Straka will be 21% owned. Adam Svensson will be 12%. Those are the only two that are really noteworthy. I like Straka this week, but that would be the answer to your question. This, I don't have enough days in the week to answer. Love all your videos and appreciate the advice. What's the best way to build a 6 of 6 lineup? Pick 6 guys who make the cut. I do not have, there's no magic bullet here. I could argue a billion different ways for a couple of hours. We'll figure that out in the future. Oh, Riku's here. Says, what's up, Rick? I got 2 main lineups that end in 7,100. Can you power rank the 7,100 guys for me? Ownership doesn't matter. Okay. So that would be, there's a lot of them. Hostler, Poston, List, Hubbard, Laird, Moore. List, believe it or not, if you're trying to win all the money. Laird, Hostler, who has a good result here. Moore, Hubbard, Poston. I think that's all of them. Good luck. Going to my first PGA event this Saturday. Best advice to make the most of this trash weather. Wear something waterproof. Don't wear your nice sneakers. And walk backwards. Did I miss the Webb conversation? Yes. Rewind. Oh, I don't like those questions. It's not really a question. It's kind of I won't call you out on it, but I don't like that. Are you considering weather at all? No. Talked about Doc Redman. Rewind. Does Cameron Young being incredibly popular make him a fade candidate? I have him at, what do I have him at? 16? That's like right on the line for me. I at 16, I would not do anything based on ownership. If you were playing him, play him. If not, don't. The pivot to Rye is a little bit exciting, but I don't think it's just enough. Just enough. There's some funny comments too, though. I've talked about a lot of these guys, which is good. Which is good. Rick, there's 222 people watching, but only 73 likes. What gives? I don't know. I guess they're all jerks. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm at the bottom, so keep them coming, but I can go back. There was a couple that I thought were interesting. Let's do the Mark Hubbard conversation. I think that's kind of interesting. So let's do, I think originally when the week started, I was like, yeah, Hubbard at this place, I think is going to be good, right? It's accuracy over distance. He is 18th in accuracy this year. I just kind of wonder what the upside is, right? I think he's kind of safer. All the really good finishes are Corn Ferry finishes, right? 12th is at the Veritex. 9th is at the Club Car Championship. 5th in Louisiana. I guess he had a 15th at the Honda, but that's like his best PGA Tour result in quite some time. And I mean, the Zurich too, but it's not an individual event. So I guess I just worry a bit about the upside. But his stats are really good. And unfortunately, like we don't have like all the good results. We don't even know how he did it because it's just strokes gained total. We don't have the breakdown for Puerto Rico. We don't have the breakdown for the Corn Ferry Tour events. I don't know. I think I've cooled on Hubbard as we've gone along here. And I think he's going to be like, is he going to be fairly popular? What's his price? 60, 70. Here we go. I just passed him. 71, 7.4%. It's not a lot, but it's like twice that much of anybody else who's there. So D-Rex, yeah, I do have love for Lashley, but like you kind of asked it like a jerk. No offense. Like I just thought it was like kind of a little rude. You can say like, hey, what do you think about Nate Lashley? Or like, something like that. So I actually think Lashley is quite a good play. So look at these results. So he missed the cut at Heritage, which is not a red flag, but a little bit of a concern. But it honestly just looked like he was dog shit everywhere, right? He just like lost 2 off the tee, lost 2.5 on approach. He just lost everywhere. Was it just a bad week? Maybe. But look at this. T7 in Puerto Rico, T27 at the Valspar, T15 in Punta Cana, T18 in Valero, T11 in Mexico. That's really strong. That's like 5 top 25s in the last 6 starts. Approach plays very strong outside of the RBC Heritage. Putter can get hot at times. I actually think Lashley is quite a good play. Let's check up on his ownership a little bit here. So Lashley is. Did I scroll past him? He can't be this cheap. Oh, 7,000. 3.2%. I like it. It's okay. I forgive you. We'll be okay. Seamus Power is a great profile for this week. Accurate off the tee. Outside of that, just like really weird 3-week stretch after he coughed it up at Pebble Beach, he's been good. I quite like Seamus Power. Okay, let's do Doug Gim. Thoughts on Troy? I don't have thoughts on Troy Merritt. I don't know why there's so much love for him. I don't necessarily see it. I think he's fine. I don't really have a strong lean one way or another. Doug Gim, on the other hand, let's see. Doesn't make as many birdies as he once did, which is a little bit concerning. Although maybe it's more about bogey avoidance than it is about birdies this week. Very accurate off the tee, not very long. Okay. 36th on approach, gains in all but one category, which is strokes gained putting. Awesome in Mexico, right? 4.5 off the tee, 4.5 on approach. My God, what a freak. Are those his best? That's got to be his best ball striking week ever. Yeah, it definitely is. It's pretty good. Was it his best tee to green week? No. 4th best tee to green week. Yeah, I don't mind it. Listen, he's just firmly in team no putt. And at least the way that he gains strokes off the tee is generally via accuracy. All right. We got like 3 minutes. Just like random, whatever you want for 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be golf. It doesn't have to be anything related. 3 minutes. That's what you've got. While you get those in the comments, let me quickly remind you of 2 things. One, there is a Jock Market Power Hour tonight, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. Joe Idonia and myself are going to be rocking and rolling on that. We'll give away a little bit of cash, all that fun stuff. The other thing is I just launched rungoodprops.com, and I'll tell you right now, White Sox and Cubs first inning runs under a half a run is minus 165. PrizePicks is paying it out like it's even money. That's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. Favorite horse in the Kentucky Derby? Ooh. Couldn't even name one. Who's your wife's pick? Did I miss that? She's going to text me. Sergio is who she picked. Best bogey avoidance guys. I'll have to actually look that up on the PGA Tour's website because they removed that from the official feed for some reason. Ryan Armour, Tyler Duncan, Brian Stewart. Prefer Duncan. Favorite golf destination? We did Cabo. That was pretty cool. But I think Hawaii is obviously up there. Yeah, Hawaii or Mexico. Did you do the rope lights yourself? Armina might have done it. Pick one. Power? No. Yes. Power. Oh, wait. Mitchell and Webb or Sepp and Power? Sepp and Power. Have you heard when PrizePicks will be legal in Ohio? No. But I imagine, like all of these sites, they're doing everything they can to be legal in every single state, right? That will have them. So that early bold PGA Championship prediction is Cantlay bold. I mean, he's got like 1 top 10 in a major championship. That feels pretty bold to me. Hey, Rick, if I'm hand building 50 lineups and end up with somebody only hitting 2 or 3 lineups, am I better off to just remove them and pick more of someone, or does it matter? No, I think that's fine, right? Like, I don't get it. Why? Because you don't have enough leverage on that person? You're saying if you only have them in like 4% of lineups, you don't have enough leverage? I guess it depends on who it is. I don't have a good answer for that. Sorry. All right. That'll do it. I already did the announcements. So now I can just say, like, if you have a dog at home, or even if you don't, like, go find one and pet it. That's generally good for everyone's mental health. And I guess I'll see you soon. Later.